Hey YouTube, and today is a review day, and the tobacco I'm going to review today is a plug. It's a Gawith and Hogarth plug, and it is Kendal plug. And this was sent to me by Martin Pipe and MG, and as part of our tobacco buddy scheme, where we ask each other if there's a tobacco that you'd like to try and haven't yet. And we came across the Kendal plug and decided to try it. Well, what can I say about this tobacco? Well, I normally like plugs a lot, but I don't think this is in the first run of Simillar's products. Here we go. And this is the sample. It's usually thicker than this, but they sent me a 25-gram sample. And I've been asked how I prepare these plugs. Well, in this case it was very thin. So what I do, I take my chopping board. In this case it is a bamboo chopping board. You don't have to spend a lot of money on the chopping board, but it's worth investing in one. Choose a nice good hard wood. It makes life a lot easier. Or in this case bamboo, which I found very sturdy indeed. Now I found that knife choice is very important in this, and I have chosen to use my Victorinox Work Champ. It has a nice broad blade, not too thick. You don't want anything with too thick a back, and as you cut through it, it makes it easier if it's a nice thin blade. It's a locking blade. I try and keep it relatively sharp because that makes the cutting easier. In this, because I cut very thin strips, I take the strip and pull it apart with my hands till it's a coarse cut ribbon, and then I take some of those ribbons and vigorously rub them out, and some only a gentle rub, so you get a mixture of tobaccos and sizes. Some slightly coarse, others finer. I find a mixture works best in this. Well, let's talk about how this tobacco tastes. I'm not really a big fan of it. Now I found this slightly one-dimensional, and I think Martin was right in his review, which I'll put a link down to below. It was a bit cardboardy. Now I think Samuel Gawith normally do better with their tobaccos than this. Then they've got finer plugs than this. The better example would be this, which is the full Virginia plug. It's got darker, it's slightly more complex, and I think it takes the flavours better and comes out much nicer tasting. It's still a simple Virginia, but I think the Virginias come across much better. Now, Martin said he was not keen on this, but would like to try more plugs. And when I send him his next sample from our tobacco buddy scheme, which is going to be some Peter Stockerby Bulwark flake, I'm going to put him this in. It's a pouch of Revor, and it's a very fine plug. It is on the Lakeland side. It is a Virginia again, but with those Lakeland flavours, I think it works well as a single kind of tobacco. There are several kinds of Virginias in this. There's some dark pressed, and I think it works incredibly well if you're a Lakeland fan. Or it would be a good introduction to Lakelands. and it's a decent plug. It's a long thin plug and I like it. It cuts well, it's not too dense, and it's a lot to offer. So I'll send Martin this one so he can try that. Now, for most plugs, I'd say my favourite would be this good old 3Ps. It's a superb plug and a very good introduction to plugs. Again, it's not too hard to cut and it's got some nice flavours going on. It's got burleys in it, some quality Virginias, and it works well. Now, I'd say plugs work best when there's more than one kind of tobacco, or there's something else going on with them in the flavour profile, like the Lakeland style, or a nice burley, or something to recommend it. Or they've been pressed hard and steamed with some good Virginias in it. Like another favourite of mine is the Warrior plug. Now this has an awful lot to offer going for it, but unfortunately this isn't really available in America, and it's only really available in Britain and some parts of Europe if you're lucky. And another one like that, I'd say it wasn't the easiest to cut. That's the only drawback with this. Take your time with it. I'd say cut it into flakes and do what I did with the Kendal flake and vary the cut, and you'll be quite pleased with the results. It's got a beautiful flavour, and the same with the Mick McQuaid. It isn't quite as dense as the Warrior plug, but again it's got some lovely flavours going on. Now, these tobaccos do have a lot to offer, but as for Kendal, no, I'm not convinced at all. I found it quite hard to keep alight, and it wasn't really piquing my interest that much. But Martin's suggestion of putting some perique with it, I think it would work then as a good agent for the perique and Virginia, and you'll get them flavours going on again. Like I said, you need some kind of interest, and I think this would work very well with perique, but on its own, no, when there are many other fine choices out there. Now, oh, where is it? A good beginner as well, I think, would be this, and that's the Jackknife plug by GLPs. That would be another good one to try. Now I'd say give plugs a go. Pick a nice one. If you can think of any that you like, put in the bucket below. Now, beer choices with plugs. I tempted to go with an ale. Nothing too heavy, to match that Virginia burley, maybe on the Lakelandy side if you like that. So for the Lakelandy side, I would go for this. It's called Old Crafty Hen. It's produced by a brewery called Moreland. It's a vintage golden ale. It's been kept a little bit longer in the barrels than cask conditioned, and it is very good. It's a superb ale. Or on the lighter side, I would choose its lighter partner, which hasn't been matured as long, but you get more fresh, zesty flavours from it, and that is Old Golden Hen. It's still kept longer than the Old Speckled Hen, and it's got some good flavours going on. It's a stable mate of it, and it's very nice. Another beer recommendation would be when the band from Manchester's album came out, Build a Rocket Boys, Robinsons produced this beer. It's called Builder Rocket Boys, and it is the elbow beer, and it is very fine beer from Robinson's of Manchester. It won't be available for very long, but if you can find it, buy it, because it has some beautiful flavours going on with it. And keep a bottle for keepsakes, because in the beer world I think this will become a future collectible. A rare fit beast indeed. All in all, I'd say try the plugs. They're really worth it. Not particularly this one, but there are a myriad of choices for you out there. There are so many choices, and this is just the tip of the iceberg in the UK. Oh well. See ya.